Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News. My next guest is fighting for the Bellator vacant light heavyweight title at Bellator Belfast. It's Karl Moore joining me today. How's it going, Karl?
All good, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the time. I know you got a lot going on, so close to fight night. First things first, man. Obviously, this is a massive card, massive opportunity for you fighting for the vacant light heavyweight belt. Just kind of give me your first thoughts on this matchup, the whole experience, and how pumped you are to get back in there.
Oh man, Jesus, there's so many things about this fight. It's like the stars have just perfectly aligned for me to have this opportunity. I mean, it's just four fights now in Bellator, four wins in a row. Obviously with PFA acquiring Bellator, I didn't know what was going to happen with me being in the rankings and where the fight was going to take place. But having the title fight in Belfast in the SSA arena is better than anything I could have ever imagined, bro. If you had told me this was going to happen, I'd be like, no, you're full of crap. This is never going to happen. But yet here we are. It's happening. It's real. It's crazy.
And it's special for you too, right? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you're born and raised in Belfast too, right?
Yes, man. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So I mean, this opportunity has got to be like almost like a dream come true in terms of just the stage. Obviously, it's a huge event. Like, how much does this mean to you to really, not only have this fight but also have it in the place where you grew up?
Oh, Curtis, I was speaking to the guy another interview on the phone earlier, and I was telling him I had my third amateur fight in the King's Hall, which is another venue in Belfast, a lot smaller than the SSE. But it was my third amateur fight, and after I won that fight, all I could envision and imagine was fighting for a massive world title in Belfast in front of my people one day, and that was like 13 years ago. And you think to yourself, like, it would be amazing if that happened, but it's probably never going to happen. Here it is. It's happening. Do you know what I mean? This is like something like when I was an amateur coming through, this is stuff I genuinely dreamt, and it feels like it's never, like, why would Bellator come to Belfast? Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's never a possibility, and that's happening. We're 3 weeks away from the biggest show in Irish MMA. I'm fighting the main event for a world title. It's unbelievable.
And what is that feeling like to manifest something and to dream of something coming true all those years ago? Like you mentioned, I think you said 13 years ago. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
what is that feeling like? Describe that to the normal human being that's not in fighting and all that. Like, what's that really like? Like, much does that mean to you?
It doesn't feel real, Curtis, and that's the truth. It just doesn't feel real, mate. It's like that was such a long time ago, and it's like I've never lost sight of that. That was like the childhood vision, the childhood dream for me, and it's like it's always been that it would be the ideal scenario, and it's just for it actually to be here makes me a bit emotional thinking about it because it's like the young me, the young version of me. If you had told me this was going to happen, I would never believed it, and I can barely put it into words, mate. It's a lifetime dream, and I'm about to achieve it. The only thing left to do is go out and win the belt, and that's it. It's job's done.
And when you look back on those moments, starting your fighting career in Belfast, and you mentioned a little bit about your amateur career too, like in terms of the ways that you feel like you've grown as a person and as a fighter too, like what are some of the biggest ways that you feel like you've grown over the years since those first amateur fights?
Um, I would like to say I've matured, but I probably haven't. I'm still a big kid. Do you know what I mean? I haven't really matured too much. I would love to say I've grown up and I've done this, but that would be a lie. I'm still a big kid. Any of my friends will tell you I'm just a big child. I haven't grown much, but as a fighter, I've grown quite a lot, mate. I mean, um, back then we had a couple of fights. It was three amateur fights at that stage. But now I've had five amateur fights, 14 professional fights. I've won a Cage Warriors light heavyweight world title. I fought for the heavyweight world title. Now I'm challenging for the Bellator light heavyweight world title against Corey Anderson. So it's like it's been a long road, mate, but it's been worth it. And I've improved so much as a fighter over time. But these last 2 years, 3 years, I think I've improved more than have all the years combined beforehand. With the move to SBG and just the way I approach training, the way the last couple of years, I've been really training like a proper. I've always been a professional, but these last 2 3 years, I feel like I've just got everything dialed in. My recovery, my nutrition, my training, everything is just it's perfect now. Well, if you can get things perfect. It's as perfect as it can be.
And how much of a game changer was that move to SBG Ireland? Obviously, you have Coach Kavanaugh and so many great training partners there. I mean, just looking back on it, like how much of a change has that been for you in terms of a positive change?
I wouldn't be here now if I didn't make that change, Curtis. I wouldn't be in the position I am in now. I mean, with my old gym, it was a great gym. Don't get me wrong, Friday Academy Ireland's a fantastic gym, but I just didn't have the training partners. There was no bigger guys for me. Do you know what I mean? It was just the biggest guy I had was a guy, Kyle McClurkin. He fought middleweight. It was fantastic. He was fantastic, unbelievable athlete, great training partner. But he had other commitments. He wasn't able to train the way I was, and just when he wasn't there, I had nobody. We're now in SBG. I've got the likes of Johnny Walker, Will Fleury, a couple of other guys that are bigger coming through. And because it's SBG, there's always different people coming to train in the gym because of the name. So you've got a constant influx of different guys to train with all the time too. And yeah, like I said, Curtis, I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't make that move. Simple as that.
And when you look at this fight specifically, Corey Anderson's obviously a veteran of the sport. He's been in the UFC, now in Bellator, obviously. He's fought a lot of experienced guys.
Mm.
In terms of the stylistic matchup itself, when you look at this fight from a stylistic perspective, how do you kind of envision this fight playing out? Like, obviously, I don't want to give away your game plan or anything like that, but in terms of just
No, no, no,
the
no, no.
blanket stylistic matchup, what do you think of it?
Well, I think if I wasn't fighting Corey, like I was a neutral fan, so to speak, it would be the typical striker versus grappler, or striker versus wrestler, more say, and that's the call spade a spade. Because I mean, Corey's strength is his wrestling, and he's got great endurance, he's got a great gas tank, but I think a majority of Corey's fights, he starts to wrestle. Unless he's having success with the striking, but he tries to wrestle, and that's what I envision he's going to try and do. Obviously, we're light heavyweights, we have big power. It just takes one punch, but I think he's going to try and wrestle. I'm going to punch him in the face. that's that's it, really, bro. That's, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's a traditional striker versus grappler, but I have a lot more than just striking. Do you know what I mean? And people really haven't got to see that. They've got to see a glimpse of a ground game, but not too much. So if Corey does try and take it to the ground, then I'm ready for everything, bro. I'm like, if it was a wrestling match, I'd be worried, but it's a fight. It's not a wrestling match. It's a fight, Curtis. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think it's like most people think of a striker against a wrestler because I think he will try and wrestle me and I will try and punch him in the face. So
I talked to Sinead Kavanaugh, I think a couple weeks ago. This was before, obviously, her fight got canceled and all that with Liam McCourt. And we talked a little bit about how this event in Belfast is kind of the start of a new era in Bellator, so to speak, right? Obviously, with the PFL
no
purchase
way.
and everything like that. Like when you think of like this new era and being the headliner of a card like this, like that's got to be really exciting for you, right?
Yeah, man, it's so exciting. I try not to big it up too much, Curtis, because at the end of the day, it's just another fight.
Mhm.
You're going to go in, you're going to lock the cage, and you're going to fight. It's after, when it's all said and done, when it's all the dust is settled. It's like I headlined Bellator in Belfast for a world title fight, and I won a world title. But right now, it's just another fight. I don't want to put too any added pressure on it, because at the end of the day, it's like it's amazing to have it in Belfast and be a world title, but all that is irrelevant in there. Do you know what I mean, Curtis? When it's me and him in there, all that doesn't matter. It's in the cage is what matters. And after, I can bask in it and enjoy it and appreciate it. But right now, it's just another fight. Only this time it's 5 rounds instead of 3. That's the only difference. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I gotta ask you too, like after your last fight, were you expecting to face Vadim Nemkov next? And what was kind of your reaction to him vacating the title and all that? Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised because I mean, Vadim, he's beat everybody really, and I was the only fresh guy coming through. So I thought maybe you might think, oh, okay, there's one guy here to challenge because he's beat Corey, he's beat Phil Davis. The only guy that I think that he hadn't beat was me, and he beat Yoel Romero recently too. So I was quite surprised. Yeah, I mean, I thought it would have been me versus Corey Anderson or Phil Davis. And when I beat Demons, I would have got to fight Nemkov for the belt, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining the hard work there, Curtis. Do you know what I mean? But I would have liked to fight Nemkov because in my head, he was like he was always the guy I was pushing to get to. Not because I didn't like him, but he was a champion. So I was always envisioning fighting him. But at the end of the day, the belt's been vacated now. So my whole purpose was to fight for the belt, and I get to do that. So whether it's Corey Anderson, Phil Davis, Vadim Nemkov, Yoel Romero, it doesn't matter. I just want the belt, bro, and I've got the chance to get it now. Can you understand my accent, all right, Curtis? Yeah, can you
Yeah,
understand me? My
absolutely.
accent? Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, it's just, most people can't understand me at all.
Absolutely. Well, I gotta ask you too. Obviously, a big addition to the Belfast card is Patricio Pitbull, Jeremy Kennedy. Obviously, a massive
Right.
fight. Uh, what are your thoughts on that fight? When you kind of preview that, what's your breakdown of that fight?
Jesus, I mean, Jeremy Kennedy, he's like a Canadian Khabib. He's fantastic. He fought a teammate of mine, Pedro Carvalho. Pedro's a great fighter, and he just was able to pin Pedro against the fence, take him down, and just grind him out. I don't know if he'll be able to do that against Pitbull, though, because Pitbull, I don't think I've ever seen anybody be able to hold Pitbull down and keep him down. He's a fantastic scrambler. He's just good everywhere. I think he's got serious power too. So I don't know. It's a fantastic matchup. I'm really excited about it, but I would have to swear. I'll have to think it would be the Pitbull. If I had to pick someone, I would be swaying towards Pitbull. I just think he's got more weapons in his arsenal than Jeremy. Not that Jeremy's an unbelievable fighter. Not taking nothing away from Jeremy. It's just I think it's just how good Pitbull is. I think Pitbull's fantastic, and it's amazing to see for Belfast too. Because obviously it's great to have me fighting for a world title, but it's also great they're putting other massive fights on the card too. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really excited about that as well. And not even just that fight, there's loads of other great fights on the card as well. It really is a fantastic card. I think the people of Belfast are being spoiled, to be honest. It really is a great card.
No doubt about it, man. Well, before we wrap things up, once again, I really do appreciate the time. It's great to meet you, good to chat with you. And I want to give you the platform to shout out your team, shout out the fans and the family that have supported you on this journey. I just want to give you the final word before we get out of here.
Yes, Curtis, appreciate it. Gee, there's so many people to thank. All my teammates at SBG, Will Fleury, John Kevin, my coach, obviously, um, Johnny Walker. There's so many other guys you can name, but they're the main core guys. Obviously, my main sponsors from as an amateur have no money. My mum and dad, they sponsored me the whole way. I wouldn't be here without them too. Um, all my sponsors too, sponsors from the beginning. D Old Dental Lab, he's been sponsoring me from my amateur career. NIB for awards, Onion Slick, that praise guy who's just recently come on as a most recent sponsor based in Belfast too, and the guys from Protherm, Christopher McCauley and Carl. Without those people, like my training partners, my sponsors, and my family, like I wouldn't be able to do this full time, Curtis. You know what I mean? So people don't see that behind the scenes. They're the people that get me to where I am. So without them, I wouldn't be where I am now, mate. And it's nice to be able to bring it to Belfast so they can come and watch me win a world title in Belfast, and they can be like, we've been there with him from the start. Do you know what I mean? That's a wee icing the cake too, Curtis. Do you know what I mean?
No doubt about it, man. Obviously, it's a huge platform, huge event. We are looking forward to it. And once again, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.